and I want to go back to your 360s and all of that about your comment about, you're the big guy. I mean, everybody's coming up to you. And I'm not accusing your executive team of this, so let's just anonymize it. It is, I've been there. I have had many people report to me, and of course, they're always putting their best foot forward. And then over the years, I found at times something happened and caused me to look deeper. And while that guy or gal was always looking good to me, sharp, responsive results, I was unaware that in some cases they were a toxic leader. And now that I'm an executive coach, I've been in, since I've left K-Force, dozens of companies. And sometimes my job is to go in there and deal, help someone that's, if they're going to get fired if they don't shape up. And in almost every case, the first thing I do is I go to HR and say, can you give me the attrition statistics for this guy or gal's department? And in almost every case, there's been a revolving door of people leaving. So they're never good enough for this guy. And Joe, in almost every case, let's say it's at the executive level, someone reporting to you, in almost every case, the CEO is unaware that that person who reports to him has had that much turnover. Because as you know, this isn't the military where if you sign up for 5 years, you're staying in 5 years, whether you got bad leaders or not. People vote with their feet. And so my lesson to folks is, to exactly your point, don't just stop your observations with your line of sight. Get out there. And I think every CEO should know the attrition statistics for every executive, their departments, and the people working for them. Because Joe, I know, and I'll get on with it, let you answer this. You would never tolerate a toxic leader. But I'll bet you over the years, you have found out that there has been a toxic leader somewhere in your organization at some level. You just didn't know about it. And sometimes that guy's boss didn't know. It's always when they leave that you find out what the person's been doing or not doing. Or like, oh my God, I can't believe this happened. I thought we had a great company here. These people in this department were hating to come to work every day. And your time, Joe, your thoughts.
Well, I'm going to say something, and I'm sure this is not news to anybody, right? But people don't leave companies; they leave leaders. And so, to your point, Mike, I completely agree. Understanding not just the turnover, but the whys behind the turnover, because sometimes turnover is healthy if people aren't performing, because sometimes leaders have very high standards, and that could drive some of the turnover. So it's understanding the whys behind the turnover, which is why we're very big on exit interviews, because that exit interview starts to give you those insights. Surveys start to give you those insights as well. Like we're very big, we use Glint, which is a Microsoft product for our engagement surveys. And, we get it down to the local leader level, and then it rolls up, and that starts to give us insights where there's development opportunities or maybe blind spots, or there's something that has to be addressed. So, again, it's multi-pronging this stuff. And I go back to this, which is why when we were talking about effective habits, organization and planning to me is probably number one on the list from a habit standpoint, meaning I literally roll into the beginning of a year and probably 60 to 65% of my year is already planned. Think of that. 60 to 65% of my year is planned on January 1st. And why is that? Because of all of my reoccurring meetings that have evolved over time, right? There's the battle rhythm meetings of what meetings need to happen on a weekly basis, a monthly basis, a quarterly basis, whether it's strategy or whether it's one-on-ones. And all those meetings, they all roll forward for me. So, somebody one time was doing an assessment on, literally 25, 30 hours of my week are planned before my week ever starts. And then everything's filled in around those, because again, this is why I'm so big on skip levels. not just direct report meetings, but meeting with the people who are working with those direct reports. And then even meeting with, key influencers that are in the firm, because that's where you get all the insights and you can start to, connect dots. I always I learned this one in the past is it's I use a hand. If I have a leader who's having problems with these four individuals, and all four of these individuals are having a common problem with the leader, these four individuals usually aren't broken. It's usually a development opportunity with that one leader, right? It's the one to many type scenario. So I'm always looking for those kind of things so that hopefully you can get to things early before they become irreconcilable and you can't fix them. No one ever wants to get it to that point because a lot of times these are developmental opportunities.